Well, all right. You spent your first night in prison. Did you sleep? I don't know. You might not have slept. But you're so emotionally exhausted that you probably did sleep as soon as you hit the pillow. Just knocked out. Just dreamless sleep because you were so traumatized the day before. So I slept. The first night I was just knocked out. So now you're about to spend your first full day in prison. So you're about to wake up in prison in the morning. So you wake up and you wake up to the sound of your bunkie or somebody saying, yo, stand up, count, stand up, count. You got to stand up. So in pre-trial at like 7 o'clock in the morning, you had to stand up for count. So that was one of the counts. In federal prison, you don't have to stand up that early. But the first stand-up count is at 4 o'clock. But in the pre-trial, you had to stand up at 7 o'clock in the morning in Wyatt. So you stand up, now you're up. Now you're like, well, what the hell is going on? You're disorientated. Everything you thought about that you had on the street, whatever it was, you make your cup of coffee, none of that. You're just in the cell. You have nothing. You don't even have coffee to drink. You might have to bum a cup from your bunkie. So the doors open at about 8 o'clock. Everybody starts going about their routine. You have no idea. You're looking for your friends maybe in the block, people that you know, people that you've seen last night that maybe going to take care of you, give you some coffee. And then you start to notice the routine of prison. You start to realize that people are on the phones. They're calling a recreation movement, to go out. We might get 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes outside. People are going downstairs getting cleaning supplies. They're going to clean their cells. Every day, first thing in the morning, people got their routine. They clean their cells. One bunkie's coming out. Another bunkie's going into the two-man cell to maybe use the bathroom, a little privacy. As soon as those doors crack, you start to realize what's going on. And maybe they're going to come by today with toilet paper. It's a big day, right? You mark that first day. You're like, oh, so Wednesday's toilet paper day, And you might think that sounds odd or weird, right? But you kind of mark the days off by the routine that happens in prison. So you're starting to see like how things move, who's where. Now, the first thing that they bring this card up, because in pre-trial, you don't go to the chow hall. The chow comes to you. So they bring a card up with about as many trays as people are in the unit, or maybe a couple extras. They have those trays. Now it's breakfast time. Now people start getting trays and going to tables. And some people that don't have no idea, they're like, where do I fit in? Where do I sit? Do I stand? Do I not sit at the table? So, I always had the luxury of having people that I knew. So, I had a table to sit at, and I remember the first day that I sat down in Wyatt and I was talking to my co-defendant, and I just looked around and I says, bro, if these suckers can do it, we can do this, you know what I'm saying? It's just, they look like a lot of people like drunks that couldn't make a bail, you know what I'm saying? So you have breakfast, but you look around and you see that there's other people that don't know where to fit in. They're like, they're asking people, can I sit here? And dudes are like, nah, man, this table's taken. And they're like real meek, you know what I'm saying? And they look like they ain't going to last a couple of days in prison, So it's kind of odd to check out that dynamic in the block, how people, because every space is spoken for in prison. And it's no different in pretrial. So you see like what phones people are using, where people are sitting for chow, the block of 4 tables. There's people maybe from Charlestown, different geographical areas, different races. Because, prison is a place where it might sound odd to people, but things are racially divisive. People there's the blacks stay with the blacks, whites stay with the whites, Spanish with the Spanish. If there's some Chinese sprinkled in somewhere, or the Asians, they stay with themselves too. So it's weird how that just kind of happens kind of organically too, Though this is a pretrial place, and I seen that in a pretrial place where there wasn't established norms insofar people have been there for, decades, years. Like when I got to Leavenworth, people were at Leavenworth for decades. And there was already an established order. And that was the beauty of going to an established place. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So that first day that you're there, you realize, okay, this is where I sit. My friends invited me to sit here. This is my seat. So now, after they clean up after chow, you notice that your friends still sit at that table, and that's the table that you sit at. That's your table. You're going to play spades there. You're going to play, whatever you play, you're going to sit, you're going to talk, because that when people are sitting at that table, there's no chance that anybody can try to come in and sit at that table. So there's, if you're at something and you're there all the time and it's spoken for, then you really never have to fight for it. It's just, it's yours, you know what I'm saying? And then after that comes and goes for so long, you have like kind of an established order. Okay, well, my man, you're sitting in my seat. This is my chair. You know that. You know what I mean? And generally it doesn't happen, but there's always people that don't know. There's people that come in every day in those pretrial places and they don't know. And that's kind of how a lot of, disturbances start, how fights start, because it's like kind of people that have been there for a while want you to understand that just walked in the door, this is the way it goes. And those are just some of the norms, and, customs of prison that might be odd for people to understand. So, and then lunchtime comes, it's the same thing. Now, in between, you have rec. You go out, maybe you play a little handball. There was showers, especially in Wyatt, it was just wide open showers. There was 6 spigots on a pole, and you showered, with the guy next to you, not so next to you, but no dividers, no nothing. And there was 4 phones in the unit. And, you waited for the next guy. We got into a fight over the phones because some guy tried to tell me that was his phone. And, there's a fight over it, but kind of jumping a little ahead there. And, there's a closet with some games. You can get Monopoly. You can get cards. The administrations of these places want there to be no problems, you know what I'm saying? So they provide things that you can kill time with. There's books, there's a library. Big thing in jail is everybody's always giving out books. So by that first day that you're there, it's your first full day, you woke up there, you got a couple of books. Now, your boy's like, I read this book. It's a great book. Sidney Sheldon, Master of the Game. It's great. You got to read it. Sidney Sheldon was one of the first authors that I really got into. And, so you just kill time reading. And that basically was the springboard for me to really learn, to really work on my vocabulary. I kind of really got into it. I kind of used this as, the beginning of my education. So now dinner comes along, you're doing your thing. This is the 3rd meal you had at this table. It's kind of an established thing. The food's not what you would expect it to be. It's not good. Now you start hearing rumbles of like people saying, oh, well, when you go to the store, you'll be cool. Like, don't worry about it. The food's not that good. But once you get to the store, you can get stuff to eat. And you start saying, like, the store, what do they got, like a supermarket here? And when I talk about the store, I say, yeah, we went to the store. And everybody's like, well, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So, again, I take for granted that everybody knows what the store is, right? So maybe it's a Monday and the store is on a Wednesday. And what happens is the officer from the commissary comes up and hands out a stack of slips, and everybody starts grabbing these slips. It's like a big, you can see the whole change of the mood in the unit. Everybody's grabbing slips, giving them to their friends, and you're starting to fill out your commissary list. This is a big kind of methodical thing that people do, like that people get their list and they'll work on it for days. It's the craziest thing. There's like maybe 50 items on the list back and front. Most are like cosmetics and stuff, but people really get into it. This is a big time in jail. It's your first comment. You're going to order sneakers, 1 pair of sneakers. So everybody's like, you're in these Gilligan shoes. You're like, I'm going to get sneakers. You start looking forward to things that you never thought, like, you're used to having a closet full of sneakers, a pocket full of money. Now, like I tell everybody, when you're on the street doing your thing, you're treating everybody like a sucker. But when you come to prison, you play the role of the sucker, and that's just the way it is. So now you're starting to look forward to the most minuscule things. You're starting to program your mind even after one day to say, okay, store day Wednesday, we're going to fill out my slip. So this is your beginning of your first day in prison. So like, subscribe, and share this. And then we'll be back with part 4 soon. I hope you're enjoying this.